There's something undeniably magnetic about a woman who walks through life with quiet confidence, as if she knows something the rest of the world hasn't quite figured out yet. She doesn't chase validation, and she doesn't bend herself to fit anyone's expectations. Her presence alone shifts the energy of a room, not because she demands attention, but because she carries a kind of depth that makes superficiality nervous. Carl Jung would have called her a woman in touch with herself, someone who has ventured into the shadows of her psyche and returned not broken, but whole. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to discover about this kind of woman will change the way you see strength, intuition, and power itself. She embodies what Jung might call spiritual intelligence, the ability to see beyond appearances, to read emotions as symbols, and to live from truth rather than conditioning. But what makes her truly fascinating, and even a little dangerous, isn't her spirituality itself, but how she wields it. Jung taught that individuation, the process of becoming whole, means confronting the unconscious and reconciling light with darkness. A spiritually intelligent woman has done exactly that. She's looked straight at her wounds without flinching, faced her fears, and learned that real power doesn't come from control. It comes from awareness. That kind of awareness unsettles people. It strips away illusions. Those who depend on charm or manipulation feel uneasy around her, because she cannot be deceived. She sees the truth behind the words, feels what's unspoken, and mirrors back what others hide from themselves. That's what makes her presence so powerful, and yes, dangerous. Not because she hurts, but because she reveals. In a world obsessed with conformity, such a woman is a quiet revolution. She refuses to live by fear, trend, or social script. She follows an inner compass that only she can sense. Her empathy is deep, but her boundaries are sacred. Jung would say she has balanced her inner feminine and masculine, her anima and animus, allowing her to move with both softness and strength. Stay with me to the end, because in a moment, I'll show you exactly how this balance makes her impossible to control, and why some people mistake her freedom for danger. And if you haven't yet, subscribe now, because this kind of feminine power deserves to be understood, not feared. People often misread her stillness as detachment, her independence as arrogance, her confidence as defiance. But they miss the truth. She operates from wholeness, not ego. Her depth threatens those who haven't yet faced their own. She doesn't need to prove her worth. She is her worth. And that is what makes her so dangerously magnetic. She mirrors the parts of others they haven't yet dared to meet within themselves. So before you scroll away, remember, what you admire or fear in her is the same power waiting to awaken within you. Keep watching, because the next moments will uncover what Jung believed was the hidden force behind that power, and how you can begin to awaken it in yourself. The first sign of a woman with high spiritual intelligence is her deep and almost unsettling self-awareness. She doesn't just know who she is, she understands why she is the way she is. Every emotion, every reaction, every fleeting thought is something she observes rather than becomes. This awareness isn't born overnight. It's forged in the fire of experience, shaped by pain she dared to face instead of flee from. She listens to her inner voice even when it whispers truths that hurt. She's not afraid of her own darkness because she's met it, understood it, and realized that denying it only gives it power. Carl Jung called this confrontation meeting the shadow, the hidden side of ourselves that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. But this woman hasn't just faced her shadow. She's danced with it. She's learned its rhythm, its lessons, its language. And that's why her presence feels both calm and charged, peaceful, yet undeniably powerful. She carries a kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. It's quiet, it's grounded, it's real. When you speak to her, you might feel a little exposed, as if she sees something in you that you've carefully hidden. That's because she does. Her self-awareness acts like a mirror, reflecting people's truths back at them, sometimes gently, sometimes sharply. You can't fake much around her. She reads emotion like a second language, and intention like an open book. People often say she has old soul energy, but it's not about age. It's about understanding. She spent enough time in silence to see the patterns that shape not only her life, but the lives of others too. She can recognize fear hiding behind confidence, sadness wearing a smile, or ego pretending to be strength. And because of this, her compassion runs deep, but so do her boundaries. She knows the difference between helping and rescuing, between caring and carrying. That's what makes her so balanced. She can love deeply without losing herself. And here's where it gets interesting, because this is also what makes her dangerous. Not dangerous in a destructive way, but dangerous to illusions. You can't gaslight her into doubting herself. She's already faced her own mind. You can't guilt her into submission. She's already learned where those emotions come from. She's done the inner work most people avoid. And that gives her a kind of power that doesn't shout, it simply is. This kind of woman is unshakable because she trusts her intuition more than opinions. She can sit in silence until clarity arrives, and when it does, it's razor sharp. Her truth cuts through pretense like light through fog. She doesn't expose people to hurt them. She simply exists so authentically that anything false around her begins to crumble on its own. That's the quiet danger of a spiritually intelligent woman. Her awareness doesn't just transform her, it transforms everyone she meets. So stay with me to the end, because in the next part, you'll see the second sign of this kind of rare power, and why Jung believed such women are the real carriers of evolution. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe right now, because this journey into the psychology of the awakened feminine is just getting started. The second sign of a woman with high spiritual intelligence is her ability to remain calm in chaos. Where others panic, she pauses. When life begins to unravel, she doesn't run, she breathes. That calmness isn't ignorance, it's wisdom. It's a strength that comes from having faced enough storms to know that no darkness lasts forever. Carl Jung believed that our unconscious speaks loudest during moments of crisis. And this woman listens. She doesn't see pain as punishment, but as an invitation, an initiation into a deeper version of herself. So when the world shakes, she doesn't lose herself in fear. She centers, she grounds, and she remembers. Every ending carries within it a hidden beginning. Stay with me till the end, because this next part reveals how her calm doesn't just protect her. It disarms the chaos around her. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe right now, because these insights into Jung's wisdom on feminine strength are just getting deeper. Her calm isn't fragile, it's forged. It's the result of knowing herself so deeply that no external noise can easily unseat her. She doesn't rely on anyone else to steady her emotions. She's built her own sanctuary within. That doesn't make her cold, it makes her conscious. She feels everything, but she doesn't let emotions drive her. She moves from awareness, not impulse. And that's what unsettles people. They expect drama, reaction, maybe even tears or anger. But she offers stillness instead. Silence. Eyes that see everything and judge nothing. That silence holds power. The kind of power that doesn't need to control, because it already understands. Her calm gives her choice. She doesn't react, she responds. She knows that reacting from fear feeds more chaos, while responding from presence restores balance. You'll notice her in moments of tension, soft-spoken while others shout, walking away instead of arguing. Her peace is not weakness, it's mastery. Jung might say she's integrated her inner opposites, the emotional and the rational, the instinctive and the reflective, creating inner harmony where others see conflict. And here's what makes that calmness dangerous. It cannot be manipulated. You can't provoke someone who doesn't move from fear. You can't confuse someone who's comfortable with stillness. Her peace acts like a mirror, revealing the turmoil of those around her. Some mistake her quiet for indifference. But the truth is, her silence holds more wisdom than most people's words. In her presence, people either relax or feel exposed. It depends on how much chaos they carry inside. Her serenity doesn't just protect her. It transforms the space around her. Arguments lose their edge. Conversations soften. Even restless hearts begin to breathe again. She doesn't force peace. She is peace. And in a world addicted to noise and reaction, that kind of stillness isn't just powerful, it's revolutionary. So keep watching, because next we'll explore the third sign of a woman with high spiritual intelligence, one that reveals why her love can awaken you or undo you. Before we dive deeper into this powerful journey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our growing community of deep thinkers. Stay with me till the end, because the next part might just shift how you see endings forever. The fourth sign of a woman with high spiritual intelligence is her ability to let go of people, situations, and even versions of herself that no longer align with her truth. She doesn't cling to what's breaking her just because it once made her happy. She understands that everything in life has a purpose and a season, and when that season ends, holding on only creates suffering. Carl Jung often spoke about transformation, the process of shedding the old self to make room for the new. And this woman embodies that wisdom effortlessly. She doesn't fear endings because she has learned that every ending is also a beginning in disguise. Her strength lies in her capacity to release without resentment, to forgive without forgetting her worth, and to walk away with grace instead of bitterness. Letting go for her is not weakness. It's an act of immense power. It takes courage to detach from what once felt safe. But she knows that attachment built on fear is not love. It's dependency. She has learned that true love, whether for a person or a dream, never asks her to abandon herself. So when something begins to drain her spirit, she quietly steps back, no matter how deeply she once cared. People often misread her calm departure as coldness, but it's not that she doesn't feel. It's that she's evolved past the need to fight for what no longer feeds her soul. She doesn't chase closure because she understands that peace comes not from answers, but from acceptance. Her ability to let go also reflects her deep trust in life's timing. She doesn't force doors to open, nor does she beg for them to stay open. Instead, she allows, she flows. She listens to the quiet guidance of the universe and believes that whatever leaves her life was never meant to stay. Jung might say she has embraced the principle of individuation, the unfolding of the self through surrender. She knows that holding on to the past blocks the energy of the present, and that healing begins the moment she stops trying to control the outcome. This kind of surrender is misunderstood by many. They think surrender means giving up, but she knows it means letting life move through her instead of against her. What makes this sign so powerful, and even dangerous to some, is the freedom it brings. You cannot control a woman who is unafraid of loss. You cannot manipulate her with absence, because she has already made peace with solitude. She understands that her worth is not tied to who stays or who leaves. Her happiness is not dependent on what she possesses, but on what she allows herself to release. People who try to play mind games with her soon realize that she's not bound by attachment. She's guided by intuition and inner peace. Her ability to let go makes her light, yet grounded, compassionate, yet unshakable. When she walks away, she doesn't look back in anger. She simply blesses what was and opens herself to what's next. That kind of freedom is rare. It's a kind that comes only from a heart that has learned to love deeply, but love itself even more than any particular story. So if this reflection speaks to something inside you, don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll explore the fifth sign, a quality that reveals just how powerful spiritual intelligence can become when the ego finally steps aside. The fifth sign of a woman with high spiritual intelligence is her deep compassion, an empathy so profound that it feels almost otherworldly. She doesn't just sympathize with others. She feels their energy, their unspoken pain, and their silent battles, as if they were her own. But unlike blind empathy that drains, her compassion is rooted in wisdom. She knows when to open her heart and when to protect her peace. Carl Jung believed that true compassion arises from the integration of one's own suffering. Only those who have faced their own darkness can truly understand another's. And she has. This woman has done that inner work. She has felt heartbreak, betrayal, and loss. Yet instead of becoming bitter, she has alchemized her pain into understanding. Her kindness doesn't come from naivety. It comes from survival. Her compassion is not loud or performative. It's quiet, consistent, and real. She doesn't need to prove her goodness through grand gestures. Sometimes it's in the way she listens without judgment, or how she senses when someone needs space instead of advice. She doesn't rush to fix others because she knows healing can't be forced. Instead, she creates safe spaces through her words, her silence, or her simple presence. where others feel seen and understood. People are often drawn to her because she radiates warmth, the kind that feels genuine in a world full of pretense. Her heart has been broken open enough times to understand that everyone carries invisible wounds, and that kindness, when given sincerely, can be the most powerful form of medicine. But her compassion is also disciplined. She has learned that being kind does not mean being a doormat. She can love deeply and still say no. She can forgive without allowing repeated harm. She has boundaries that protect her empathy from being exploited. That balance between openness and self-respect is what makes her compassion so strong. Jung might say she embodies the principle of wholeness. She has integrated her light and shadow, her nurturing side, and her inner warrior. Her heart is open, but her intuition guards it. That combination of softness and strength confuses people who are used to equating kindness with weakness. What makes this compassion so dangerous is how it transforms the people around her. When someone meets her, they often feel compelled to be honest, to drop their masks, to confront parts of themselves they've avoided. Her energy doesn't judge, but it holds a mirror. Some find that healing. Others find it uncomfortable. She doesn't just make others feel loved. She makes them see themselves, and that can be both beautiful and terrifying. Her compassion, therefore, becomes a quiet revolution. It awakens consciousness in a world that has forgotten how to feel deeply. This woman's love is not about rescuing. It's about reminding. She reminds others of their own strength, their own light, their own worth. And though her tenderness may seem gentle, it carries an unshakable power. The power to heal, to inspire, and to change the energy of any space she enters. Her compassion is not just an emotion, it's a force. And in a world hungry for authenticity, that kind of love is not just rare, it's sacred. So if you're feeling this message, make sure you hit subscribe and stay with me to the end, because the sixth sign reveals something even more extraordinary. What happens when a spiritually intelligent woman stops seeking approval and begins to live fully from her truth? Before we move forward, take a moment to subscribe if you haven't yet, and stay with me till the end, because this next sign reveals one of the most freeing truths of all. The sixth sign of a woman with high spiritual intelligence is her unshakable authenticity, her ability to live in complete alignment with who she truly is, even when the world tries to shape her into something else. She doesn't wear masks to be accepted, nor does she silence her truth to make others comfortable. She has reached a point in her evolution where pretending simply costs too much of her soul. Carl Jung believed that the goal of human life is individuation, the full realization of the self. And this woman lives that truth every day. She doesn't seek to fit in because she was never meant to blend into the noise. She was meant to be real, raw, and unapologetically herself. Her presence is magnetic not because she tries to impress, but because she dares to be genuine in a world built on illusion. Her authenticity comes from deep self-knowledge. She has spent enough time alone to understand her values, her desires, and her limits. She knows what fuels her and what drains her, and she refuses to betray herself for approval. This makes her rare, and sometimes misunderstood. People who are uncomfortable with their own truth often find her intimidating because she doesn't play roles. She speaks honestly, loves wholeheartedly, and walks away from anything that demands she shrink her spirit. She's not interested in appearances or validation. She's interested in essence. Jung might say she's living from herself rather than her persona, the mask most people wear to survive. This alignment between her inner and outer worlds gives her a radiance that no amount of pretending can replicate. What makes her authenticity so powerful, and to some dangerous, is how it exposes falsehood. When she enters a room, she doesn't need to call out insincerity. It reveals itself naturally in her presence. Her energy doesn't tolerate hypocrisy because she embodies truth. She doesn't gossip, compete, or compare. She simply is. And that calm confidence makes others question their own facades. People either feel liberated by her or threatened by her because she mirrors back the parts of themselves they've hidden. She lives from a place of emotional and spiritual integrity, where what she says, does, and believes are in harmony. There's no act to maintain, No image to protect, just truth. Her authenticity gives her peace. She no longer feels the pressure to be liked, because she understands that not everyone will resonate with her frequency. And that's okay. She's not chasing belonging. She's building alignment. And in that alignment, she finds freedom. She knows that real connection only happens when two people show up as their true selves, not as their performances. So she's willing to lose people, opportunities, and approval if it means staying loyal to her soul. In a society that rewards imitation, her honesty feels rebellious. Her realness is her quiet revolution. She reminds others that authenticity isn't about perfection. It's about wholeness. She doesn't need to be flawless to be powerful. She just needs to be real. And that's her quiet danger. She gives others permission to drop the act, to stop pretending, and to finally meet themselves. Because when a woman chooses to live as her authentic self, she doesn't just change her life. She changes the vibration of everyone around her. So stay tuned and keep watching, because the seventh sign reveals the most profound shift of all. What happens when a woman of high spiritual intelligence learns to surrender fully to life itself? Before we close this journey, don't forget to hit subscribe and stay till the very end, because what you're about to hear is the heart of everything we've been building toward. When a woman reaches this level of spiritual intelligence, when she becomes self-aware, calm in chaos, guided by intuition, fearless in letting go, overflowing with compassion, and unwaveringly authentic, she transforms into something the world rarely sees: a woman who is whole. She no longer seeks her worth in external things, because she has already found it within. She doesn't need to chase, to prove, or to perform. She lives in harmony with herself, and that makes her magnetic in a way that can't be explained, only felt. Carl Jung would say she has integrated her shadow and her light, and in doing so, she has stepped into her highest form of being. Such a woman moves differently. She doesn't rush, she flows. She doesn't react, she responds. She doesn't cling, she trusts. Every experience, joy, pain, love, loss, has become her teacher, shaping her into a force of depth and grace. People feel her energy before she speaks, because her soul vibrates with clarity and peace. She no longer fears solitude, because she understands that solitude is sacred space where truth grows. Her silence holds wisdom. Her words hold weight. She walks through life knowing that she doesn't need to control the world. She only needs to stay aligned with her spirit, and everything meant for her will naturally find its way. But perhaps what makes her truly dangerous, in the most beautiful sense, is how her presence awakens others. She doesn't preach or persuade. She simply lives her truth so fully that others begin to question their own masks, their own fears, their own limits. Her energy is a mirror, one that reflects not just what is, but what could be if one dared to become whole. She invites others silently and powerfully to rise into their own authenticity, to heal their wounds, to reclaim their power. In her world, love is not control, it's freedom. Success is not status, it's peace. Power is not dominance, it's self-awareness. She is both soft and strong, fierce and gentle, grounded and infinite. She has learned that spiritual intelligence isn't about knowing everything. It's about becoming everything you are meant to be. And that is why such women are rare, revered, and to some even feared. They cannot be bought, broken, or bound. Their strength is invisible but undeniable. Their truth shakes illusions. Their light exposes shadows. And their hearts, those luminous, resilient hearts, remind the world of what it has forgotten. That real power doesn't come from control, but from consciousness. A woman like this doesn't just exist in the world. She elevates it. She is living proof that when a woman rises in spirit, she doesn't rise alone. She lifts everything around her. So if you felt something awaken in you while watching, that's no coincidence. It means your soul is remembering. Keep listening, keep growing, and keep rising. And don't forget to subscribe, because this journey of becoming is only just beginning.